Welcome to episode 28 of the Collecting the King show, and this one is going to be titled Never Ending, with the tradition of using Elvis songs as a title for a show. And the reason we're calling it Never Ending is because it just amazes me all the years that I've been collecting, and it's been quite a few years. It seems to be like there's this never-ending process of discovery, always finding something new, something that you thought you knew everything about. And even as many years as I've been doing this, I thought I knew not everything, but I thought I knew quite a bit. But it's really surprising how sometimes you'll discover something that you didn't know about, and you say to yourself, wow, when am I ever going to, when is this ever going to end? Well, it's never going to end. I recently talked to Jerry Osborne, and we were kind of going over when the AFL1 catalog number started. The very, very first AFL1 was Moody Blue. That was the first AFL1 catalog number. And when I say AFL1, for those of you who don't understand what I'm saying, AFL1 and a dash and then the number, like, 1254 or AFL1 1382, which I don't think those exist, but I'm just giving you an idea of the numbers. In Presleyanna, I think the AFL1s are listed as being released in 1977. So the big question was, when exactly in 1977 were they released? Of course, nobody knew Elvis was going to pass. By the time Moody Blue came out, we just figured RCA decided that they were going to reissue Elvis's LP catalog. And of course, sometimes when they did that, they would put a new prefix number or even a whole new catalog number. RCA had to release as many Elvis records as possible because when Elvis died, Elvis fans and record buyers went to the record stores and wiped them out. And I think we all know that story. And when they did that, they decided, well, we're going to release some albums that haven't been released or that we deleted. So those would include It Happened at the World's Fair, Spin Out had been deleted, Double Trouble had been deleted, Clambake had been deleted. So at that point in time, and I remember going into the stores, I did notice that all the catalog numbers were different. They were APL1. But that was kind of the catalog number they used after Elvis died, okay? Because the next album was Elvis in Concert. After that big rush and everything happened, as the years went by, we started finding more AFL1s than we had thought. The AFL1s had to be very limited because when they went into massive overdrive to re-release Elvis's records after he died, they changed the catalog number or the prefix. So the big question has always been, when was Elvis's catalog reissued with the AFL1 prefix? We always thought that it was around the time of Moody Blue, because Moody Blue was officially the first AFL1 catalog prefix number on an LP. With that in mind, it would make sense that they were only available for a short period of time. Something happened kind of strange the other day. I happen to have an old RCA record store poster. It's a poster that has Elvis at the top and the complete catalog, all of Elvis's records that were available when the main record on the poster, which was Elvis Sings for Children and Grown-Ups 2, was released, which was 1978. RCA made these posters to show you the new release, which was Elvis Sings for Children and Grown-Ups 2, and in addition, all the other LPs that were available. So on this poster, the most recent album, I think, beyond Elvis Sings for Children and Grown-Ups 2, is He Walks Beside Me, which was a inspirational album. Those were the follow-ups to Elvis in Concert. Now, on this poster, they put the picture of the albums that are available at that time when that album was released, and underneath, they would have the catalog number. So when I was looking at the poster, all of a sudden, I took a look underneath the album covers. Almost all of them were AFL1 prefixes. And the more I looked at it, the more amazed I became, because I mentioned in the top most valuable movie albums that there are a couple AFL1s that are way, way up there in price. One being It Happened at the World's Fair, and the other one being Girls, Girls, Girls. But as I was looking at this poster, I noticed that, I know about Clambake AFL1. Okay, we knew about that. I think that's in Presleyanna. And like I said, we know about It Happened at the World's Fair and Girls, Girls, Girls. But on the poster, it has about 3 or 4 albums listed as being AFL1, and that would be Harem Scarum, Spin Out, Double Trouble. There are AFL1s all over this poster. So that means that the AFL1s were out in 1978. If they came out before Elvis died, which is what I think they did when they reran the catalog, then this poster, which was made to promote the Elvis Sings for Children album, just went with the catalog numbers that were available from RCA at the time. So if that's true, then that means that there is an AFL1 of Double Trouble, there's an AFL1 of Spin Out, there's an AFL1 of Harem Scarum. There's nothing in the book about an AFL1 Double Trouble or an AFL1 Spin Out, because those were reissued after Elvis died, but they were APL1. If this poster came out in 78, and they had already put out Double Trouble, Harem Scarum, and mass-produced these things, which I know they did in early September, October of 77, and this poster came out in 78, why would the numbers not match? Why would the numbers not be APL1? When they did convert to AFL1s in the factory, they had to reprint the cover. They had to repress the record and redo the labels and put those new numbers on there. But if they had a lot of copies of Promised Land or Elvis Today or whatever left over, they figured, well, we don't have to go that far. What about all this inventory we have? Well, we'll just make these little stickers, put them over the catalog number, and call it AFL1. Now, if that's the case, then this poster, maybe make a note of the albums that have these stickers on them. We don't know. All I know is in Presleyanna, we purposely say that the value of an AFL1 record is only for the ones that have AFL1 on the cover and AFL1 on the label, not the ones that have that sticker. So I guess that means maybe, just maybe, there might be, just like we found It Happened at the World's Fair, and we found Girls, 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 AFL1s, and of course we found Clambake AFL1. Maybe there is a Double Trouble AFL1 out there, or a Spin Out AFL1, or Harem Scarum. Maybe. I don't remember. Maybe you might know. Anybody out there watching the show might know if there were ever any APL1s of those 3 albums in particular, Harem Scarum, Double Trouble, and Spin Out, that had the AFL1 clear sticker over the corner. Maybe it did, and maybe this poster is not saying for sure that these albums are available with AFL1s on the cover and the label. Maybe not. But whatever the case might be, I thought it was really interesting. The AFL1s, I think a lot of collectors are after them because of the fact that there was an incredibly short run of AFL1s. But there are albums that came out with AFL1. Elvis's Gold Records, Volume 5. In 1984, they were still using the AFL1 catalog number. I mean, kind of out of nowhere. I mean, they had switched over to APL1 and whatever. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to this, but here's an example of a 1984 album with the AFL1 prefix. You might want to keep an eye out for AFL1s if you happen to find them, because they can be worth a lot of money, just like the World's Fair and Girls, Girls, Girls. And now you're going to add Double Trouble and these other ones to the list. And maybe if they exist, they're going to be up there in value, just like those others. All right, so what we're going to do now is the last show, in the comment section, some people were saying, what? No black box? Yeah, I know. I didn't have the black box last show, and I can't remember if I had it the show before. But anyway, because I did not have the black collector's box for the past couple shows, I decided I was going to have it in this show, and I'm also going to add some extras to it, some extra cool things. Not just 1 or 2 items, but about 3 or 4. So here's the black box, or what do we call this thing? The black box, the black case.
The black case.
Okay, the black case. First, I got to put it down here before I open it up because the lid comes off. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to show everybody is this album here, and this is, of course, A Date with Elvis. This is the original first pressing, and it has the picture of Elvis in the car on the front, and then on the back there is the calendar. And of course, on the front there's the little hole at the top, which when you open this thing up, the thing would fold out. You know what? Let me do that. I'm going to show you. Let me open this up, and I'll show you. Because I know I look on eBay every once in a while, and somebody will say, "Oh, I have the I have Date with Elvis," but however, it has a flaw. There's a hole at the top of the cover. I always find that amusing because obviously they don't know then why there's a hole at the top. So I'll show you. Anyway, the whole idea was the hole was kind of going to be like for a nail on your wall, so that you put the cover in there and you open it up like this. And now I disappear behind the cover, but this would hang on your wall. And the hole is up here where that goes, for the nail. But that's what that hole is for. It's for you to put it on a nail to hang on your wall, and it has the calendar perfectly underneath. Because some people thought, well, it was kind of strange that the calendar is upside down. When you think of it. You got to go like this for the calendar to be right. Well, now you know why, folks, because that's what it's supposed to look like. Okay? That's what the hole is for. Now, the reason I'm showing this to you is because it is, when I say the first pressing, it is literally the first pressing. And the reason I say literally first pressing is because the red content sticker is not on the cover. This is one of the rare exceptions where an album cover without the sticker on the cover is worth more than the ones with the sticker on. Apparently, there was probably a lot less of this album released without the sticker than there was with, because they probably popped that sticker on there pretty quick after they realized what they had done. I still don't understand the logic with RCA. I know I've brought this up many times, but why would you release the album and not put the contents on there? I mean, I get the idea about the calendar. The calendar is kind of cool because it has the date. For those of you who don't know, there's the date that's circled is the day Elvis was to be released from the Army. That's why it's circled on the calendar. And then you would hang it in your room, and that way you know when it's coming. But anyway, I don't understand why they would not put the song credits on the album. It just makes no sense. But again, I'm showing it to you because this album is actually worth more than a first pressing with the sticker. Next is an album that I recently found, and I'm thrilled to death about. There's a little story behind it, and it's kind of amusing. I was at a record show, and I was looking through some records, and, found some Elvis records, and there was a guy who had a bunch of original Elvis LPs, right? And I'm flipping through them, and, nothing new. I mean, most of them were, they were in pretty good shape, actually, but nothing that really tripped my trigger. However, I did see this album in there, and this is Roustabout. When I saw this, I thought, okay, well, this is a Monaural, Roustabout, and I have a Monaural Roustabout. And I thought, well, you know what? It's not too pricey, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get it because it's in the shrink wrap. I pulled it out, and I noticed that it is a silver Mono. And you know what these are. We talked about this before on previous shows, okay? This is the absolute first pressing of Roustabout, silver mono. And I don't want to go into big explanation on monos again, but if you watch the other shows, you know how rare the MONOs are. However, Roustabout was originally released as an MONO, as was Kissin' Cousins and Fun in Acapulco, but it was towards the end of the MONO run, which is why it went to Monaural so quickly. So anyway, this is an MONO, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got one of these at home. I'll just buy it and take it home. So I buy it, I get it home, I go in my collection, and I take a look, and I say, okay, all right, here's my MONO. I pulled it out. It's a Monaural. And I said, oh, my God, I don't have an MONO. And I freaked out because this was something I thought I had and I didn't have. And as I said about the silver stereo mono, it's worth bucks. I mean, it's I think I said like 500 plus or more. Well, the same thing goes for this. I was pleasantly surprised to be incorrect about my collection. And I was very happy to get this, and I put it in my collection. So now the only roustabout I'm missing is the tan label roustabout. So there's my story. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is very unusual. John is interested in collecting reissues. That's for a whole nother show. You'll see that show coming down the pike here. Johnny B will be back, and we'll do a whole show about collecting, just collecting in general, and especially his insane way of collecting. So he was going through my records, and he found A Date with Elvis, and it was a reissue. Unfortunately for him, because he just wanted the black label reissues, this one is tan. And we all know how much this particular tan label is worth. So he was like, well, I don't know if I want to spend $100 or not. Do you happen to have another, Date with Elvis? And I said, yeah. As a matter of fact, I do. And I showed him this one. And he looked at it and he said, okay, well, I don't want, a reissue from the 60s. I want to reissue, a black label reissue from the 70s. But it is a 1977 dog near top black label. So I thought, well, wait a minute. Why has it got a reissue cover from that was used, probably the last time it was used in 1969? So why in 1977 would RCA release this album with the staggered stereo cover instead of the RCA block letters cover? We just started going back and forth. Well, this is really odd and strange. And we were thinking, well, maybe this came out sooner, or maybe the cover was left over, or whatever. But the more we explored it, and the more we checked this out, and I guess I'm going to have to open this in order to explain. But when we looked inside, because we were just trying to find the difference between these two covers, like the one I just showed you with the block letters. Okay, this one here. This one has, I believe, an SER down in the corner. SER, which is like RE, reissue, but it's an SER, which I believe means second reissue. It's on the front cover down in the corner, and then it's also down here as well. Okay, SER on the front, SER on the back, 1976, RCA block letters, tan label. Why in the world would RCA put out in 1977? Why would RCA do this? Why would they put it out on the black label reissue, but use this cover? So, and for those of you who know how albums are constructed, they're made out of slicks. Meaning that the cardboard cover itself is made first, and then what they would do is they would have a paper slick of the first cover, and then they would have a paper slick of the back cover. And if you look at the covers, you can kind of see like an overlap, like the back cover kind of overlaps the front cover, because they take the front cover, they bend it over, then they paste the back cover in, and it's perfectly cut to fit the cover. Whereas the front cover is taller here and taller down here because it's either stereo or mono. And what they would do is in the factory, they would move the slick up if it was a mono, so the LSP or LPM would show at the bottom. Or if it was stereo, they would move the slick down and the stereo would show. But that's how they put covers together. So I guess the big confusion here is this is definitely a back cover reissue because it's identical to the RCA block letters, the tan label. But this is definitely 100% a 1969 reissue cover. Without a doubt. That's exactly what it is. Why they did this, I don't know. But we had to confirm that this was released in 77, that this wasn't a mistake of some sort. So what we did was we pulled out the record sleeve. And for those of you who know about record sleeves, down in the corner, there's a number. But the number is right down here in the corner. And what we did was we pulled the sleeve out of the tan label and matched it up to this sleeve. And it's identical front and back with the stars and everything, black and white. But the number was different. So that is absolute proof that this record was released in 1977 with this 1969 Slick. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. Very, very unusual. I have never, ever, ever seen the Black Label reissue like this. And this kind of goes in conjunction with the show that we're doing on AFL ones and the never-ending process of discovery. Because till you really pay attention, you might just flip through this record at the store and say, oh, this is a black, you pull out the record, Black Label reissue, no big deal, and you just put it away because you don't collect reissues. Not knowing that this is rare. This is a rare pressing because it has this cover. The big question is, how many of these were made? How many were made like this? And I have been doing this for many, many years, and I've never, ever seen a reissue, a Date with Elvis reissue with this cover, this front cover. The back cover, yes. Front cover, no. So, pretty cool. It's like a new discovery. Not sure what the value is, but I would probably put it up there with the tan label because we, once again, do not know how many of these were made. Just like the AFL ones. Some of those, we're not sure how many of those were made. But you'll notice it doesn't have the clear sticker to go over the end here. So this wasn't like a cover that was left over from 1976. If it was that cover, the other cover, it would have that clear see-through catalog sticker. So anyway, cool discovery. And you saw it here on the Collecting the King show. Okay, folks. If I only had a drum roll. Because what I'm going to show you next from the black box is something that I have only had once in my life. I've talked about it on other shows. And it's funny because some people are always looking for original first pressings of Elvis's albums, when some of the reissues could be much, much more in value. I've only had this record one other time, okay? One other time. It came out in the 80s, the end of the 80s, and this is it. I'm just going to let you look at that for a while and say, okay, so what's the big deal? Some of you already know what I'm about to show you. This record has sold for a lot of money, and here's the reason why. Is it red vinyl? Yes. Is that the reason why? No. The reason why is it's the RCA Black Label. I know I've talked about this before, and if you look it up on elvisrecords.com, you'll see a picture of it there as well, with a little bit of an explanation about the history of this album. It was in a collection I bought a long time ago, and the person who owned it, that I got it from, is probably watching the show. He bought it from eBay and was told that it was going to be made into one of those gold record plaques. You know, the ones they sell at Graceland, where they have the album cover and the records sticking out of it. And what they did was they just took regular records and they would paint it gold, and then they would just leave the label as is, from what I was told and he was told. The original label for this is the RCA 50th anniversary gold label. And as the story goes, from what he told me, they changed the label to black so that when they spray painted it gold, the label would show up. Otherwise, if it was gold, it would conflict. It would be a gold label with a gold record. So that was the story he told me. That was the story I told Jerry, and I think that's the story that's in Presleyanna from way back when. Well, ever since then, we figured out that that's not the case. The case is this is actually a legitimate reissue of this album from late 1989, maybe, and there were just a really, really short run of these albums. All I can say is I was shocked when I found it. Once I got this, I called a collector that I know, and without any hesitation, he said, I will give you $1,000 for it. Anyway, super, super rare. And I thought I would show it to you. I was so excited when I found it, and it's so very unusual. It's such an unusual release. And, of course, here's the front cover. But don't let this fool you, because we thought that, I think it's even listed in the book, that the record comes with this Best Buy sticker here. Okay, it doesn't necessarily come with it, because there have been copies found with that Best Buy sticker, and the label is the gold 50th anniversary. So just because it's got that sticker does not guarantee that it's a black label. So anyway, that's it, folks. That's the big record from the black box that I wanted to show everybody. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're opening up this is a sealed to reveal. Let's see if this is the black. Hold it, let me show you how.
Look how dirty it is.
Look at pure gold. And remember, if this is black, it's worth about $500. Here we go. What? Oh! All right, too bad.
No, it's the common.
Too bad.
There's a black dog near top of it. It's worth about
$500.
It has the regular black label with the nipper on top. Very rare.
Yeah.
We don't know how many this week. It's very, very rare.
But
very rare.
What? Isn't that label different
We only know 2 or 3 that exist.
Wait a minute. Isn't that label different?
Yeah, it might.
Yeah, it is. Look at the side.
Yeah, it might be the alternate.
What is that side B? I don't think I've ever seen that. Have you?
It's in the book.
The side A and the side B.
Yeah, I'd have to look. I'm not sure. Might be. There might be an alternate.
Huh.
And it's still.
That might be. All right, there you go, folks.
Do you have any of these here? You don't have any here?
No.
Want it for $6?
So that about wraps up the show. I am looking into doing a live streaming event. I'm not sure when it'll happen, but you'll find out because I'll put it on Facebook and let you know when we're going to do it. But I want to do this really bad because I want to be able to talk with you and communicate with you guys, for a half hour or however long we stay on the air. But that is also coming up, a streaming event with the Collecting the King show and myself. So kind of keep your eyes open for that. I wanted to remind everybody that I am selling on eBay. I try to put unusual things on, imports and things like that, and of course every now and then an FTD. I've got some regular buyers, and I'm sure it's some of you people from the show, so thank you very much for participating in the auctions, and keep your eyes open for what goes on next. I also want to remind you that whenever a show premieres, I'm usually in the chat room, so if you want to chit-chat a little bit while the premiere is going on, you can join us. There's about 5 or 6 of us that meet in the chat room during every premiere, so you can join us and be part of that. And finally, Johnny B will be returning. We're going to be doing a whole show talking about collecting, as I said before, in general, and I'm just going to let him talk and tell you about all the crazy ways that this man has collected over the years. Elvis, and of course, if you watch some of the earlier episodes with him, he collected Samantha Fox albums, variations and everything with stickers. He applied all the same collecting techniques with Elvis records with Samantha Fox, of all people. But he's collecting more things, and I'll let him tell you all about that. So don't forget to send me your inquiries and want lists to collectingtheking@gmail.com for pricing, shipping, and payment details. We have over 1,000 Elvis 45 CDs and LPs in stock, as well as RCA promotional items, sheet music, authentic Las Vegas and tour souvenirs, and more. We don't have a list or catalog available, which is why we encourage you to send inquiries and want lists. If we don't have something you're looking for, we might be able to find it for you. So don't forget to contact us at collectingtheking@gmail.com. So, folks, thank you very much for watching. I am Robert Alaniz, and I am out of here.